got my cheese eggs wrong. First they didn't bring them to me. Then they brought me some normal eggs. I said, well, I had cheese on them. So that's when I look up and she had the gun at me like this. Then I was like, you tripping, you ain't finna do nothing. And she caught it back. So I'm like, well, maybe she is finna do something. Now it's time for me to turn the Rambo and try to get on up out of there.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host Maxine. We're on episode 138. Now, I included that clip because I was crying. Tears were rolling down my eyes, my neck, my ass, my crack, just like that. Shout out to Kaya. Like, hilarious. Apparently that happened a few days ago at the Waffle House in Atlanta. And every time he's like, oh wait, she really finna pull a gun out. Yes, nigga, you was about to die. Don't worry about your eggs not being scrambled enough. Leave the counter. So that was hilarious. So enjoy. Let's go ahead and talk about Dave Chappelle. I watched his latest special on Netflix, like around the time, like fresh off of when it was released. And look, I just want to ask the question, what happened to stand-up comedy? Hello? What happened to specials, comedy specials, actually bringing the funny? Now, I know with Dave Chappelle, like you have to give, every time you say his name, you have to give an obligatory compliment or an obligatory label attached to him. Like, oh, he is, an amazing storyteller. He is the living legend, or he's one of the GOATs, or he is the GOAT. And, I'm just going to have to say I disagree. The reason why I say that is, let me get some context, because I did not grow up with Chappelle. When his show was out, was it on Comedy Central? When his sketch show was out, I was not watching it in live time. I didn't really find him funny back then, to be honest. It's up until my adult years, that's when I got into Chappelle, when he returned to comedy after rejecting the $50 million deal, and when he came back super buff with his steroid ass, allegedly. I found him to be quite interesting and funny. I'm like, oh, okay, I like this. I really enjoyed the last two specials that he had on Netflix. I thought they were really, really funny, and I was looking forward to this one. Now, because I did not grow up with Chappelle, I don't have that loyalty that a lot of fans of comedy do when it comes to Chappelle. I'm noticing a lot of conversations around him just being the GOAT and pretty much not questioning his style of stand-up comedy anymore, or just his level of funny in his comedy anymore. It seems to be like a given pass that we're giving him because of all the history that he's done in comedy. And look, at what point I could understand that, because it's like, okay, well, he's put in the work, he's respected, he's not funny, but I just don't find this special funny. Like, I did not laugh to the point where my stomach is hurting, I'm rolling on the floor, I'm about to fall off the balcony because I'm laughing so hard. You know how you laugh and you laugh so hard that the laughter suddenly becomes silent and you're just moving your mouth? That was the laughter I was looking forward to have. And I really can't tell you guys the last time I've laughed like that. And the last time I did laugh like that was many, many years ago, like in regards to a stand-up special. Now, when I go to comedy shows in live person, I have laughed to the point where my stomach is hurting, my cheeks is hurting, like stop, it's too funny, shut up, that type of laughter. But I haven't been receiving that type of laughter, that type of joy when it comes to watching these stand-up specials. And my question is, what happened to the funny? what happened to actually being funny? Like, what, hello? Are we making a joke or are we making a political statement? Huh? And yes, joking, comedy, stand-up specials, comedians essentially are the ones making statements about what's going on politically, what's going on in our society, and they have the special access point to say whatever they want because they have the label of comedian. And with Chappelle, although I really appreciate the message that he was getting off on it, I just couldn't find the funny. I can only recall one moment in this special that really made me laugh, and that was the moment. Spoiler alert! Please check it out if you haven't yet. If you don't want the spoiler, but the part in his joke where he was talking about this older white woman who was following him all through the mall, and she followed him outside into the parking lot, and he finally turns around and she's giving him this look, and she's like something about, I'm not, or you are Dave Chappelle. And then Dave Chappelle says something like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna put you in my car, bitch. Like, he just kind of spazzes out. But he's saying that to us. He didn't say that to her, obviously, but he's making that joke that he could have spazzed out. He could have been this angry black man that you are suspecting me to be, but he didn't do that. And when he did that joke, right, when he just spazzed out and said, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna put you in my car. I'm gonna tie you up, bitch. When he just spazzed out like that, that was hilarious. Like, oh my God. And I want to say that's maybe 20 minutes into the special, maybe 20 minutes. But that was really, really funny. And the fact that I could remember that is hilarious. But that's it. That was it. And I'm just ultimately disappointed for the most part when it comes to funny. Like, comedy has now become a platform to be this moral, righteous type of comedian, right? Shaming those who aren't on your morality level. And there's a lot of safe comedy. Not to say Chappelle is that. He's definitely not. But when I look at other comedians out there, they are getting off on just like being this safe pussy ass comedian. Like, what the fuck? And they're saying quote unquote jokes not for you to laugh as an audience member, but for you to be, provoked, and you're clapping like in agreement. Like, yes, Black lives do matter. Like, okay, but where's the joke? We get it. Tax the rich, but where's the joke? We get it. Elite shouldn't be elite. Like, the poor is still suffering and the rich is taking all the money. Where's the joke? Tell me the joke. Can you find the joke? Sir, I would like some jokes. Sir, I would like some jokes. And we're missing that in comedy. And please point me to a current comedian who has a special out, or whatever platform, whatever media he has out, he or she, inclusivity, that is about the funny. I just want to laugh. I don't want this PC shit. I don't want to talk about Black Lives Mattering. I don't want to talk about all lives matter. How is this funny? How? Talk about abuse and find the funny in it. That's so great about comedy for me. Like, you find the funny in any and everything. You find the funny in any and everything. There is nothing not capable to be funny. And that's what I look forward to in comedy. It's my escape from reality in a sense, or my break from reality. It allows me to just find the humor in things and realize nothing matters in this world. Everything's a joke. Nothing is real. Find the funny and tell me the funny. And that's what I'm missing in comedy. And that's what I wish Chappelle would have done. And this reminds me of that. He didn't have a special. What was it? The 446, 842. He named the special off of George Floyd's murder. And he it was regarding the same number or the same time frame in which he was killed. And I watched that on YouTube because it was on YouTube specifically. And I was just like, again, hello? Hi, can I get the funny? Is the funny in aisle 2? Is the funny over there? Oh, I'll go ahead and go online to find the fun. Where's the funny? It's not funny. I watched that special, and thankfully it was like literally 8 minutes and 46 seconds, right? The same time as George Floyd, rest in peace. I mean, is he dead though? I'm kidding. Is that too soon? I mean, can we talk about the conspiracy theories and really have a conversation about those splitting images of Derek Chauvin and another George Floyd, someone who looks just like him? Derek Chauvin seemed to have known him, or they was already interacting, and all of a sudden his knee was on his neck, and it wasn't even really him. I'm telling you, when I tell you there was all these conspiracies, but I'm like, huh? Is reality not reality? Is my name even Maxine? Do I even have the skin that I'm in? Is my skin color the same? Like, I was questioning everything in that moment, so that was hilarious. But if he is, really dead, rest in peace, of course. But yeah, that special was whack as hell too. Where was the funny? I mean, I just want us to be able to laugh again. What I did appreciate about the special was that Chappelle was very forthcoming about his feelings regarding the LGBTQIA plus community. He called out the hypocrisy in the community, and he still stamped it. Now, I do wish, though, I wish he didn't spend the whole fucking special on that. Like, were you that upset over the dragging, quote unquote, that people were giving him based off of his last 2 specials? I just feel like, being that you are Chappelle, you shouldn't really care too much of people's harsh criticism for you not being politically woke. Like, you should know better. Like, you're a comedian. You should know that people are not always going to agree with you, but it shouldn't shake you to your core. And I felt like in this special, he was so shaken in his core, even though he didn't admit it, and he was trying to play it off. Like when he said, they were dragging me on Twitter, and I said, or someone told him that, and he said in his special, and he said, Twitter is even real. And then like he said that in like this like provocative moment. He paused after he said that to kind of let people realize what he said. And though that's true, I felt like though he was still trying to cover up the fact that, oh no, this actually was hurtful, and I want to explain myself again and again and again. And I just feel like as a comedian, you should not explain yourself. If people get the joke, if it lands, it lands. But I don't think you need to go back to what you said. And his last special, wasn't that like 3 years ago? Like, I don't think he needed to reference back to what he said in his 3-year-old special to further clarify. Now, he could have just spent maybe 10 minutes max in his special about his response to the criticism, and a few takes here and there and a joke here and there. But there was just so many other things he could have talked about. Like, yes, I'm tired of COVID being the main topic, but he could have touched on COVID. Like, there could have been some funny in there that he could have used in his special. What else? Like, there's so many fresh takes that he could have had, and it didn't happen. And maybe he's taking comedy into, how people say don't make it green, because making it green means that you're only talking about current events, and it may not age well, right? If people are not watching it in this current moment in time, 5 years later, it may not be as funny as it is. And though, okay, maybe I could understand that in some regards, but I feel like funny is funny. Like, people still laugh at Bringing the Pain, and that was years ago. Hilarious. Like, I love Chris Rock, so that's funny to me. It doesn't matter if it's no longer current news, but I just feel like overall, Chappelle could have used some material based off of what's going on currently in this world. So, needless to say, I was disappointed, and I wish there was more funny in that special, but he will always have the forever stamp label of being a GOAT, being a great storyteller. And he is, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that away from him. I mean, as far as a storyteller, like, I don't really consider Chappelle in my top, like, sorry, don't crucify me, but like, again, I didn't grow up with him, so I don't have that loyalty to him that many of his fans do. But yeah, I just was really disappointed. With this backlash now, another backlash for another special of his, there is the trans community from Netflix. They are planning to do a walkout if Chappelle's special does not get revoked, or if it at the very least does not get denounced from Netflix. And, I just feel like people are just so tiring. Like, aren't you tired? LGBTQIA community, aren't you just tired of being offended about any and everything? Do you just like to always be upset? Don't you want to take a break? I want to take a break for you. Like, I know for me, being a Black woman in this world, in America, I take a break from all of the news and all of the media that fixates on Black trauma. When Haiti was going through back-to-back trauma, when it came to the earthquake, when it came to the president being assassinated, I had to, and then it came to, the Haitian migrants coming into Texas and being whipped, allegedly, from, the border. I had to take breaks from seeing certain images that were being plastered on social media. I had to take breaks from that because it does something to your spirit, to your psyche, when you are continuously ingesting trauma in particular that is reflective of you. So when I look at the LGBTQIA plus community, it feels like every opportunity they get to be offended and to call out whatever offense they feel, it just feels annoying. It feels redundant. It feels fake to me because you're really mad at this. Did you really listen to what Chappelle said? Like, if you listen to the jokes, or just, like I said, it wasn't really funny for the most part. So if you just listen to the overall message of Chappelle in this special, he was basically saying the hypocrisy in the LGBTQIA plus community is that when a Black gay man, Black lesbian woman in the community needs support, no one is there for that Black person. Yet when a white member in that community needs support, that white member is more supported, is more praised and publicly declared for, rather than their minority counterparts. And he brought the example of the baby, how the baby got in trouble a while ago for saying quote unquote homophobic remarks, which was, look, child, before y'all call me anti, I don't know. I'm saying quote unquote because that's what people are saying, or the people who are offended saying his remarks are. I listened to those remarks. I watched that short video. I didn't feel like it was necessary for him to call out, if anyone in here has HIV, raise your hand if you don't have HIV, or make some noise if you don't have AIDS, if you're not sucking niggas from the backyard, or whatever he said, because he said something like that in, here and there. Instead of just, because he started off by saying the HIV, the AIDS, right? And he did not say gay people. He did not say lesbian people. Like, he did not say that. He just said HIV, if anyone in here, raise your hand if you don't have HIV. And instead, what the LGBTQIA plus community did was took that as an opportunity to be offended and to, speak out against him and create this whole cancellation train against the baby. I'm not into canceling per se. I feel like ultimately, if you don't agree with what someone said, if what someone did, then you don't listen to that person anymore. Then you stop you stop consuming that person's content. Like, you should not then shame other people or pressure other people to follow suit, because we try to say we live in a world where pro-choice and freedom and my body, my rights, but we have vaccine mandates. But we're forcing people to not listen to other people because you disagree with their politics. You disagree with how they raise their children. It's like, what happened to minding your business? What happened to that? But anyway, I feel like, ultimately when you think about how Chappelle was delivering his message was pretty clear. Like, it was pretty transparent. And to not even give that an opportunity to be heard, it just shows me that that many people in that community are so fixated on being offended and being heard and being seen and being, spoken about, that they would purposely ignore the strong and accurate message Chappelle was saying just for them to continue to be on people's tongues. And I think it's just attention seeking. It's an opportunity to then continue to be at the center of things, and it's just annoying. Like, can we just stop giving attention to them? Like, 'cause at this point, that's the only way they could stop. When a bully is bothering you and you're trying to figure out, how do I best handle this, is by ignoring them or beating their ass. I mean, either or. But ultimately, you could just ignore someone or make it appear as if you don't care about what they're saying, like it doesn't affect you. And eventually the bully stops. The bully realizes, oh, I don't have power over this person anymore. This person is unaffected by me. Let me go ahead and bully someone else until that other person realizes what to do, or until that bully gets fucked up, So I just want to know, where's the funny, and when can we stop being so offended by any and everything? Kelly Price is a weirdo. Yes. Hello. Is the mic on? Kelly Price is a weirdo. Allegedly, she is claiming that she was never missing. Just a few weeks ago, she was reported missing by her own family. Her family did not hear from her for weeks, and they tried contacting her. It was to no avail. She apparently and allegedly was with her boyfriend, who is actually her husband, and people didn't know that she got married to him up until now, and she actually kept that away from her family as well. Now, I feel like with Kelly Price, I knew she was crazy when I watched that show called Hollywood Divas on TV1 years ago. I love that show. I wish it came back. I knew she was crazy then. Like, the crazy was already there, and Selena Johnson called it out. Like, that bitch was crazy. I just think for her, she just demonstrates this church lie, how some women in the church, some elders in the church, they lie with a straight face. They look at you and just lie to you, say you look good, or, I love your hat, and they're laughing in the background. They're, snaking you in the corner because they don't really agree with what you have on. They don't agree with your lifestyle, but they're in your face smiling at you. Kelly Price reminds me of that. She reminds me of that. Married at First Sight. Hold on, I got a little something for y'all. Hold on one second. So, Married at First Sight. I mean, where do we begin? Let's begin with bow down, bitches. So, shout out to Bow for standing up for herself and being the bad bitch that I always knew she could be. Well, that she already is, right? And I'm saying this in regards of the scene after her sit down with the counselor, and she felt like, finally it's time for me to speak up and share with Johnny that you can't speak to me any type of way, nigga. She should have said that, and I would have given her a pass to say that. Go ahead. She said, I do not want to be spoken to like that anymore. And she made it very clear. And what I appreciate about Bao is that she'll professionally check you, right? She doesn't have to get out her tongue. She doesn't have to call you a name. She doesn't have to cuss. She will just get you together in a stern voice, right? Like an adult, and speak to you in a manner that is not to be played with. And I just find that so admirable. I love when people could check people and not be dirty with it and not be low blow. Just being a fucking adult, And that's what Bao demonstrated at this moment in time. Johnny was about to explode like the Incredible Hulk. Like, what's wrong with this nigga? Is he okay? Is everything all right? I feel like he is just demented in so many levels, and I need Bao to run away with me, like run away with Zach, because allegedly, if you, spoiler alert, and this was a spoiler alert because I did not know about it on the show. I had to somehow be bombarded. I don't know how I was exposed to these pictures of Bao and Zach together. There was one picture I saw of them together where they looked like they were on a date. She had a red dress on, and Zach was laughing and probably crying right after his crybaby ass. What's wrong with? Is he okay? God, this nigga's crying. Like, go blow your nose, nigga. Just disturbing. Like, I tell you, you only get but so many cries. I'm kidding, but no, he cries too damn much. He does cry too much. But it looked like, if these pictures are accurate, that we may get a little surprise at the end of the show. Okay? At the end of the show, we may get a little surprise. Now, to be very honest with you, I'm not surprised in regards of Zach being interested in Bao. No offense to Bao, but I can't see Zach with a black woman. And Bao fits that script. It just so happens to be, I feel like it's a convenient thing. And maybe he just, got to know her in passing and through group activities, and just maybe always thought she was attractive and decided, you know what, let me just go ahead and go for it. Shoot your fucking shot. I'm here for it. Shoot your shot. We only got one life. Shoot your shot. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about what anybody say. Oh, they were castmates, and wasn't he friends with Johnny? I don't give a shoot your shot, nigga. You just met this nigga. You don't know him either. He doesn't owe anybody anything, okay? You know how people be saying nowadays, I'm hearing the new term, Miami owes me nothing. Australia owes me nothing. That just basically means that I had such a good time there that Miami doesn't owe me anything. Like, Miami paid all their debts and I had a great time. You owe me nothing, okay? And that's how I see it in this case. Like, Johnny should not have expected. I don't know how he felt or he feels about this apparent relationship, new budding relationship. But ultimately, Johnny's a fucking asshole anyway. So, bam, bam, nigga. Like, you said already that you weren't attracted to Bao. You wasn't attracted to her 15 years ago and trying to rub it in her face. And, like, that's why we didn't go out then. That's why I didn't respond to your text. That is enough for Bao to do whatever the fuck she wants. So, if that's who she wants, let it be so. And I really am curious about how, that transpired between her and Zach. Like, I wonder who made the first move, if they even felt any inkling of guilt. I don't know, but I just think guilt is in some regards, an illusion. It's a way that pulls you back from really being who you want to be and being with who you want to be with. Like, don't let anyone tell you not to do something because of whatever dumbass reason that they have. And that's why they're living a miserable ass life, living vicariously through you, wishing that they could have the boldness to be happy and in love. I'm moving on. Kay and Zach. If you caught it, you caught it. If you caught it, let's move on. But if you caught it, you caught it. Kay and Zach. Look, honestly, at this point, I'm just looking forward to every argument that they have. I'm looking forward to any table breaking that they will have due to Kay. I never understood people who throw things. Like, aren't you hurting yourself in the process? I have a cousin who not necessarily threw things, but he will punch walls. Like, your knuckles are broken now. Like, that's okay to you? Like, you're bleeding. You made yourself bleed. Maybe it's like this like adrenaline rush thing. They don't feel it in the moment and they just need to release. So I think it's that. But, not to be depressive right now, but I remember in high school, a classmate of mine, this girl was always kind of off to me. She was thought in a button, and what's interesting about her is that she wasn't necessarily attractive to the guys at my school, yet she got a lot of play. Like, she got attention enough. She was one of the popular girls, and I just didn't understand. Up until I realized, she was thought in a button. Okay, got it. But I remember overhearing her speak one time with her friends, and she was just sharing casually how she cut herself very often, and it's not a big deal. And I remember one of the guys that she was talking to during this time, he asked her, like, why? Like, why do you do that? She's like, it just feels so good. It feels like, when you just feel the blade against your skin and the blood coming out, it just feels so good. And I was overhearing this conversation like, is everybody okay? Like, it was pretty intense. At that time, I wasn't too familiar with what cutting was. I heard about it here and there, but I didn't have experience with it directly. One, I didn't know anyone in my inner circle who did that, and I just didn't understand how someone could want to physically harm themselves on purpose. Like, that just never made sense to me. But after years of just watching Lifetime movies and watching different documentaries on different networks and just experiencing life more, I feel like people do that because it is a release. It is their own control being had for whatever pain is going on in that moment that not someone is giving to them, but they're giving it to themselves. So they feel this ounce of control, which is just... It's mind-boggling. Like, wow, like, people really, are very depressed and have yet to learn healthy ways to cope with their depression. So they, retreat to different unhealthy methods. So that's... It's not to make it depressing. Let's go back. It's all or nothing. Okay, so I brought that up because Michaela, or Kay, every time she gets mad, she throws something. The first instance of her banging furniture was when she broke that Lysol Clorox wipe after Zach did not return home like he said he would have. And you know what, now that I think about it, now that him and Bao are allegedly together, I wonder during those times when he did not come home when he was supposed to. I mean, no, he couldn't have been with Bao because Bao was definitely committed to Johnny until Johnny started showing his ass, and she's probably now more open to disconnecting from the marriage altogether. So no, never mind. I take that back. But Michaela, she just has a tendency of throwing things, getting physical, and just violent. I think that is so scary Like, if you are quick to hurt yourself by default because you're banging the wall, you're flipping the table over, it's but so many flips of the table for you to have up until it's time for you to smack me in the face. Like, if you are quick to hurt, and I'm using hurt purposely here, if you're quick to hurt an inanimate object, who am I to you? Like, I am an actual human being with feelings, who could speak, who could defend herself, but, not as much as I can if I'm, not a man, right? So you have all of that into consideration, but when your partner is physically violent and volatile, it's but so many punches in the wall that will happen until it's time for your head to be punched in the wall. So considering that Zach is not a nigga, and I'm saying that respectively, Zach is not a nigga. Like, he's one of those black guys from Boston who is from the South End of Boston. And if you're from Boston, you know what I'm talking about. South End Boston guys, back in the day, not the gentrified version now, like the new age, white guys and black guys now. But when it was Southie, when it was super, archbishop type of time during that time, black boys who grew up during that time were definitely whitewashed. You have black boys, and just like what Zach said, he grew up in a Catholic school. He went to Catholic schools, and he was the one out of 2 black guys in the entire school population of students. And he, of course, naturally, with your environment, you're going to blend in some way, somehow. So he is more white than he is black. And I know that sounds so like narrow-minded to say, like, oh, what is black, what is white? You know what the fuck I mean. Like, let's be very honest. I hate when people be like, oh, there's no such thing, black people are not a monolith. We know, but you know what I mean when I say that. You're not a nigga. Yes, okay, when if the police officer is racist, pulls you over, he's not going to be like, oh, well, this black guy, he came from a Catholic all-white school. He's all right with me. No, he's going to see your black skin and, say, I felt threatened and shoot you down. I get that. But aside from that traumatic ass turn, all I'm saying is Zach is not a nigga. Can we just make that a statement that is declarative? That is not a nigga. Okay? He's not going to be out here checking Michaela the way she needs to be checked. And Zach is he's in for a loop. Is that the right term? But he's in for a reckoning. Like, he cannot handle Michaela. He cannot handle this type of black woman. And I know that sounds even misogynistic to say, like, a man handle a woman? Well, I'm not a car. You know what I mean? Like, in times when you're arguing with your mate or you're being irrational with your mate, that is a time when the man needs to put his foot down and be like, no, you're not checking my phone. Like, we're not fucking, like, you don't have to swear, but there's a sternness in your voice. There's a finale in your voice. There is okay, he said what he said, we're gonna move on. That's what it is. And Zach don't come off like that. Like, I will walk over Zach. I was like, nigga, get the fuck out of my face. And I won't even have to flip a table. That's not my level of reaction. But I'll cuss that nigga smooth out. Like, I wouldn't want a Zach either. So at this point, I feel like Zach is better suited with a non-black woman, and that woman happens to be Bao, allegedly. And I just wish them the best. I feel like it's for the best. Michaela, yes, she needs therapy and all that. She needs to, let go of her abandonment issues and wounds. And I see her, I recognize it. And I really hope she gets the help that she needs. I also think she needs a nigga, someone who could check her when she needs to be checked, respectfully. And I hope that she could come across the man who she deserves. I want to talk about Brent and Ryan real quick, or Brett and what is her name? Is that really her name, Brett? Like, I thought it would be short for something. Like, hey, maybe her name is Brettine. No, I don't know. Bernadine. Like, no, but okay, whatever. Brett it is. Brett is a slob, and I find that disappointing. I think maybe that's another reason why Ryan is not as attracted to her as I feel like he should be, because she is. I think she's a pretty girl. Like, just aesthetically, the fiery red is also captivating in my opinion, and she is just. I just think she's a cool girl, but she's not enough for him. Like, she does not look the way that he wants his women to look. And I think being that you're in a home, you're sharing a space with someone who does not upkeep the home the way that you do. And it's not to say, like, Ryan never came off as if he's this, like, super OCD, clean freak. He never came across like that. So you wouldn't think that it really rubs him the wrong way. But also, Ryan doesn't say much, so you don't know what's going on. Like, he's just looking like a damn ghost. Like, are you here? Did your spirit leave your body? Like, he looks kind of weird, but I just wish she would clean up after herself. I know she works in the school system, so maybe she just gets so overwhelmed with work. You know, working in education is definitely an emotionally tasking job, so maybe she just finds all her energy in school, at work, more than she does putting it into keeping her home clean, which is, I still feel like it's no excuse, because I feel like if you live in a home that is in chaos, you're chaos. Like, I look up the word chaos and I see you. And I have a sibling who is messy as hell. I have people in my family who keep things forever and a day, like hoard things. But I also feel like that comes from a place of not having a lot growing up. You know, it comes from a place of lack. Like, you know, you grow up, and I'm referencing my parents and other people who emigrated from a different country into America. They typically came from an impoverished area, and they did not have access to have just more things, right? And when you finally land in a new area, a new home, you cultivate a life for yourself, and you're able to afford X, Y, and Z, you want to keep all of these things, because these things symbolizes your level of success, your rags to riches story. So I sympathize with that. I just wish there was some level of rationale had when it comes to hoarding. Now, I've seen hoarding shows on TV. I can't even watch a full episode of that, but I've seen short clips. That's really enough for me to watch. And I've seen people have just sky high packs of clothes or newspaper articles. It's literally any and everything that they feel like is necessary for them to still keep. And I think that's a mental issue at this point. Like, if you're keeping newspaper articles, something's going on. It's one thing to keep clothes that you've had for years, and maybe you'll eventually fit back into it. You just gotta lose weight, and this is your motivator. I guess that's a pass, maybe. But ultimately, you have to clean. Like, I feel like every week I'm cleaning out my closet, and I'm donating my clothes to the Salvation Army. There is a Salvation Army nearby me, and I frequently pass it when I'm going to the grocery store or when I'm just like in that area. So I just find myself, you know what? I don't wear this dress anymore, or this dress doesn't fit me the way that it used to fit me, or this outfit, these shoes, whatever it is in my closet may not bring me joy anymore, so I'm letting it go. And that's just me. Like, I just hate holding on to things. And it also comes from living in a home where you saw your parents holding on to any and everything, trying to find an excuse to keep this and keep that and add on to it when there's no space, and you're living in a cluttered home. It always made me feel super tight, super uncomfortable. Many times when I'm outside of my bedroom back home in Boston, because I can't control how my parents' bedroom is, right? And every time when I would try to clean up or throw things away, I would get in trouble. I would get yelled at because I'm touching stuff that's not mine. And yes, they may have a point. Don't touch stuff that's not yours. But clean up. Not to say my parents, I really don't, let me give a disclaimer. It's not to say that they're dirty. Definitely not. It's just they keep things that don't need to be kept anymore. And this mail letter has been here for 3 months now. Why do you still need it? And then I noticed that when I would throw things away, like mail, whatever the case is, they're not checking for it the next day. Like it never really mattered. They just never got around to anyway, let's move on. It really bothers me. I hate clutter. So I feel like another reason why I am very clean, I'm very organized, everything has its place, is because I grew up in a home where not every room was clean, not everyone was clean, no one cared about it. And not to say they were dirty, it's just like there was too much stuff. And when I feel like there's too much stuff, it translates to unclean for me. So yeah, I often clean out my closet. I find pieces, or I look at pieces that I already have that no longer bring me joy, and I go ahead and discard. I don't discard, I donate. So when Ryan is seeing Brett being the slob that she is, I can understand if that further makes him unattracted to her. Like, bitch, at the very least, you could pick up after yourself. And maybe she doesn't dress sexy enough. You know, I know she's a school teacher. Well, I don't know what age group. I think she teaches high school. So I actually don't know. Yeah, I think it's high school. Maybe her attire, her work attire, you know, you go to work every day, 5 days a week, and it's 8 hours a day. You're not, well, I can't speak for myself because I know for me, I dress up. Like, dressing up is also my way of being in control, showing up, and being happy. Like, it's my way of maintaining my happiness because I'm putting my appearance at a priority that makes me happy. So me getting dressed, like, I don't wear just old slacks from 2007. Like, my clothes really match my style, and I'm elevating my style more. I'm looking at new blazers to purchase. I'm looking at new dresses to purchase. Like, I love that. I think it's so fun. But I do have some colleagues who don't give a fuck, like, who be wearing the same thing every other day, which is fine. Wear your clothes, but switch it up with another piece, or make this piece very much a standout piece. Wear color. You know, I have colleagues who just be wearing gray, and it's like, okay, is this it? Oh, okay. Well, you know, again, people have their personal style. I think ultimately, though, Ryan may feel further unattracted to her because she may be that type of person too. You know, working at a school system, you are very emotionally taxed, and it is tiring. So you don't want to put your energy into your wardrobe. You want to just put all your energy into your lesson planning, your lesson delivery, your students. And though that's admirable, let's go on a little tangent. Sometimes teaching is just a job, okay? Let that sit real quick. Let that sit. And I say this with love. I say this with respect. I say this with the honesty that that's what the fuck it is. I have moved from the idea of being a martyr when it comes to the profession of teaching. I remember being fresh into my career and just wanting to be validated by any and everybody, and not giving myself the validation that I could give myself for, and just always trying to be better or to be good. Am I good enough? You know, I started in Boston, and being in Boston, a predominantly white area, and the school that I was in, it was predominantly white. It was even more of a struggle for me. It was a challenge, to say the least, to be respected, to be seen, to be appreciated, and it leaves you feeling depleted. You know, you already have the act, or just the art of the profession as it is, just teaching, the the push to try to reach all learners, to make sure all the students understand and they are meeting the objective, and to make sure that the lessons are clear and rigorous enough, and disciplinary actions are had, and there's a respect level in the room. All these things is like, okay, but what the fuck? Like, it really fucks with your mental health. And I have been seeing a lot of now a shift when it comes to how to feel when it comes to teaching, right? Just let it be a job. Let it be a career path that you clock in and out of. Not to say you don't care about your students, not to say you don't care about your colleagues. It's just to say you come in, you do the best that you could do that day, and you leave when it's time to leave. You don't have to overextend yourself as we were conditioned to believe as educators. You know, it was always who could get to work the earliest and be seen and be rewarded for that, right? I want to look like the best teacher in town because I got here at 6:30. Fuck you. I'm going to stroll in at 7, 10 minutes before the kids do. Hello? And that's what I do. And that's fine because I still got to be there around that time anyway. So that's fine. But you have that, and okay, I'm gonna get here super early just so I could leave super late. Yo, when I tell you guys both, and this just started shifting for me mentally and emotionally just now, since COVID, I have shifted my perspective about teaching and it being more a job that pays the bills, that pays for my lifestyle, that supports me, rather than it being all of me. Like, my only identity is teaching. And I want other teachers to also leave and abandon that mindset and really start to take care of themselves. A lot of people are not taking care of themselves when they're in this profession, and it's really hurting you, sis. You know, people be like, sis, it really, or nigga, you know, it's like, bro, it's really hurting you, bro. It really is. You know, you get to work super early just to be the last one clocking out, when it's like you're getting home at 7, you barely have time to go to the gym and take care of yourself, you're eating Whataburger on your way home, and then you do this again the next day, and it's only Tuesday? Nigga, fuck you and these kids. Hello? Is the mic on? Fuck you and these kids. Like, sometimes you also gotta just laugh at niggas like, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I came across something online, and it also fuels me to continue with this shift in my mindset when it comes to the profession that I'm in, because sometimes with teaching, you are asked to, or even mandated, or not even mandated necessarily, but like pressured to do more than you are contractually assigned to do, right? You are assigned to be the teacher for this set of students, meet your deliverables by submitting your lesson plans at this time, by submitting your additional resources in X, Y, and Z. But when now your superior or whomever is calling you to do an extra task, is calling you to cover another class, and you've already covered 3, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that. And no, I'm not going to volunteer, quote unquote, which is another pressure point. I'm not going to volunteer to cover volleyball for the weekend. I'm going home to masturbate and go to sleep. Okay? So, Brett is a slob and Ryan is unattracted to that. Let's move on to Rachel and Jose. Y'all, I'm crazy. But nothing is a lie. Nothing is a lie. Rachel and Jose is another joke, in my opinion. They're both full of shit, and I mean, that's it. Like, I don't know what else to say about them. It's the same old shit. They're living this false reality. Everything's fine. Everything's great. I'm still mad that he locked her out, and yes, he quote unquote apologized, but nigga, go suck a dick. Like, go somewhere else with that weak ass apology and your dumb ass flashcards. I'm still not over that. That's just ridiculous to me. So if Rachel wants to continue being locked out of their apartment, you like it, I love it. Okay. Moving on, let's get into the next show, which I have another little surprise for y'all. Hold on one second.
Now I'm ready to love.
Ready to Love is back. Ready to Love. Yo, every time oh my God, that theme song comes on, let me start over. Let me not say it. Basically, I get excited every time it comes on. I just love that the melody, the sound, the calmness of the intro. I was like, oh. So shout out to Freckles Bay for helping me to get these clips in here. Thank you. We are gonna talk about Ready to Love. Let's talk about Ready to Love, nigga. I mean, where do we begin? I'm so excited. I love this. I just like seeing more Black people on the screen in a light that's not always negative. Like, yes, I love my share of Real Housewives and, you know, just all that bullshit. But I do like love shows, you know, love contestant type of shows. And being that there's a bachelorette every 6 months, a bachelor every 6 months, it's necessary for there to be a Black version of that in its own light. So I like that Ready to Love is in existence, and I just love it. I love it. And the intro, I remember when it came on, I had to stop everything I was doing. I was recording it while giving live commentary on my Instagram. And I love it. It's so funny. Or it's so great. Okay, let's talk about this now complaint that I'm hearing quite often when it comes to the bigger women who are casted to be on the show. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this take that the bigger woman on the show is not always picked and is typically discarded quickly. I think, though, it just so happens to be that they're a bigger woman, like that they're a bigger size. Let me say that. And in this case, you have, I think her name is Tisia. I don't know how to say it, but I have the spelling correct. It's Tisia. And with this woman, she is a bigger size, but it's interesting though. Her frame is bigger at the bottom, so hips and below, but her face and her waist and her top half is not like the typical big woman size. So I feel like, if anything, if we want to call it a comparison game, she's not as big looking, at least, or she fits this mold of attraction that is more socially acceptable, unfortunately, but that's just, you know, how the world is. So I felt like she wasn't necessarily going to be a part of this talk when it comes to bigger woman getting the last rap. But I think sometimes that's just a lazy excuse to it all, when in fact, let's just really look at her behavior in this first episode during the mixer. If you notice, she was doing a lot of the asking of the questions, a lot of the probing of the information. She was not as open or vulnerable. I mean, nor did I really see guys ask her questions directly, or at least they didn't show it to us. So I don't know if she's just not open or no one's asking for her to be open. Like, it could be either or. But either way, the way she comes across is like very, very close off. And she jokes a lot. I mean, in that scene in particular, when she was sitting down with Frank or one of them niggas, and she was like asking questions 3-4 times, but in different ways, but asking the same question about whether the guy, like, are you really ready to love, or are you single or single? Do you have a relationship? Do you not have a relationship? Like, she was asking questions that, like, bitch, did you hear me the first time I said no? Oh, I said, yes, I am single. Like, or I said, yes, I'm in a relationship. No, I am not in a relationship. Like, were you listening, Tisia? So I think ultimately with her, I feel like she talks to talk rather than really pay attention. Like I feel like she's the girl who typically has a cool remark to say, but she's really not saying anything. Does that make sense? Like she's the girl that is, you could count her to say something kind of outlandish a little bit, or funny in the moment, but she really doesn't have an open heart to really be vulnerable. And that's how she comes across to me. Like when she was talking to, I forgot his name, but the guy who skinny, well, thin, like a lean cut, light skin, bald, and he has a beard. He was married, but his wife passed away. And she's talking to him. She's like, so what's wrong with you that you don't have kids? And, she starts that off, and I get the joke. Look, I'll joke with you. I'll joke you down. Like, I get that. It's fine. But it was just being that she was so quick to immediately make it into a joke, or I feel like her approach was probably too strong in that moment. And obviously his story was a sad one, or is a sad one, so it made her look foolish. Like, girl, shut up. Like, you dug yourself into a hole. And it looked like she felt stupid. So I think ultimately with her, she jokes too much and she gives more of a friendly vibe. And that seems to be the consistency when it comes to bigger sized women cast on this show. Like last season when you had Tasia, another big woman. This one was actually a comedian, so it was a given, but she wasn't making jokes necessarily. She was just not as forthcoming maybe in her sensuality, and she gave off this homegirl, homie type of vibe, and that was just to her detriment. I don't think she's not attractive. I don't think this one girl is unattractive. I just think it just so happens to be that they are bigger sized women, and she's just not luring in her personality. She's not luring or alluring in her body language. Like, she does not own maybe her sexuality, her sensuality, her womanness. And that comes across to men. Like, I think sometimes with men, there are some men who want to be serious all the time, who want their women to be sexy all the time, to be grown all the time. They don't know how to react to a woman who cracks jokes and who likes to laugh. And it's not to say Tisha's a bad person or is not deserving of love. I just think ultimately sometimes she needs to know how to reel it back and be serious and be cute and be flirty. Like, you couldn't really see that. So, but who knows? I think ultimately you should be able to find your match with someone who doesn't want you to change. Like, you'll find someone who accepts you for who you are. But I just disagree with this whole notion of, the bigger sized black women on the show always get the bad rep and they're always set up for disaster. And I don't agree with that take. I think she is not as flirtatious or comfortable in her womanhood, in her womanness yet. And she just so happens to be a bigger size woman. I think it's one of those. Let's talk about Shiloh. So Shiloh is one of the women on the show, and she shared with what's his name? Don. His name is spelled Donta, but I think it's pronounced Dante. Nigga, what the fuck, eh? Like, what? Respect your name. So she shares with him her upbringing and how after the divorce her parents had, it was very tumultuous and it really changed the fabric of their family, and it made her develop these abandonment wounds. And that led to her realizing that she has anxious attachment style. Let's talk about what that is real quick. So I looked that up, and I've heard of this, but I just wanted to get the proper definition or proper examples of such to share with you guys here. So attachment styles, there's 4 different types of attachment styles, and we all fall under either one. And maybe there are cases where you may find yourself in two of these styles at the same time or at particular points, but there are 4 attachment styles in total. There's anxious attachment style, which is emotionally volatile, reassurance seeking, turbulence, fears, rejection. There's fearful attachment style, which is fears connection, unpredictable, extreme responses, poor boundaries. There's dismissive attachment style, which is isolation, ambivalence, emotionally distant, overly independent. And there's finally the one that you want to be, right? You want to be secure in all aspects of your being. So there's secure attachment style, which is confident, reciprocal, non-reactive, and resilient. Now, as you can hear, there are 3 examples of attachment styles that are pretty much the negative. Your goal is to be the secure attachment style. And when Shiloh expressed and shared that she is anxious attachment style, again, that is emotionally volatile, reassurance seeking, turbulence, and fears rejection. I thought that was just very awesome for her to share aloud and for her to be aware of it. Oftentimes when people are struggling with their love language or with just how to receive love, how to give love, they don't realize where they are in their self-growth journey, or they don't even realize that they need to grow. And it's really awesome when someone recognizes that, hey, I fall under this part right now. I'm aware of it, and I am doing what needs to be done to work on that. Now, I don't know what she's actually doing to be done. She said something about healing, but she wasn't really specific on what that looks like. And when Dante asked her, what are you doing to work on that? Or what are you doing to, move forward from that? She says, or she actually didn't, we couldn't hear what she said because the camera just cut off into a whole new couple. So that was disappointing. I wanted to hear exactly her answer to that. But it just opened the conversation to talking about attachment style, what that is, what that looks like. And again, your goal is to be a secure attachment style, and that is confident, reciprocal, non-reactive, and resilient. Now, how do we get there? Let's talk about how to reach a secure attachment style. Now, first off, you have to allow your partner healthy space. What does that mean? Not being clingy, not expecting to be up under your partner every second, every day, and not perceiving that as a form of rejection when he or she wants to go out with their friends or, just do an activity alone or whatever. Allow your partner to have bad moods. Don't agree. It's like, no, everything I do agree with, for sure. Allow your partner to have bad moods. So allow humanity to take place. I think sometimes, at least for me, I tend to get caught up in this whole wanting to be in control of every little thing, of wanting to be perfect and what that looks like at all times, and never seeing me sweat. I'm good. When no, there are days when I'm not as chipper as I may want to be, or there are days when I'm just like a little down and I don't really have an explanation for it. I'm just having a mental health day or whatever that is, and allowing that emotion to be had, to be felt, and let it go when it's time to let it go. I've talked about this before on a previous episode, how you have to let your emotions be felt and you have to let it go. You have to drop it off at its destination. Like, okay, remember the episode titled, It's Time to Go? It's time to let Todd go. You have to, not have to, but it's recommended that you name your emotions. So like whenever you're feeling sad, give that sad emotion a name. Give that angry emotion a name. And when you give it a name, it gives that emotion, or it gives you authority over that emotion, and allows for you to be in charge of the emotion rather than the emotion being in charge of you. So when I say it's time to let go of Todd, or it's time for Todd to go now, I don't know a Todd. I'm not talking about a nigga named Todd. or a white guy named Todd. I'm talking about whatever that emotion is, and giving that emotion the kick out that it deserves. You have ran your course. It's time for you to go now. Next, we have learn to set boundaries around needs. Now, I'm going to read into this a little bit more. So here's what it says. If you need a date once a week in order to feel like your relationship is fulfilling to you, it's vital that you accept that. Communicate it so that your partner knows and walk away from someone unwilling to do that. Like they always say, communication is key. You have to communicate at all times. Don't live in this perceived reality in your mind, thinking that things are what you have created in your mind for it to be. And instead, have a conversation, talk about it, clarify things. Like sometimes you just get mad over things that you not necessarily experience. You just create it in your head, and your mind is so powerful that it feels real, but it's not. So communication is key. Set boundaries around your needs, express your needs, and hopefully your partner is able to meet them. Finally, study assertive communication and use it. This goes along with the previous step. Now I'm going to read more into this. Secure attachers are neither passively nor aggressively expressing their needs. So by passive, it means to stay silent about their needs. And I'm going to add to that when you're staying silent about your needs and you're expecting your partner to just read your mind, that is giving not only you a disservice, but your partner a disservice. You have to communicate. And the next part, aggressive, attacking or yelling about your needs and immediately getting angrier or immediately assuming that, oh, well, you didn't do what you knew I liked for you to do and you don't love me. And just being aggressive with that is not helpful. So finding a way to assertively communicate yourself and just stick to that. And doing it kindly. You know, kindness is really a bomb-ass virtue that I wish a lot of people had or looked at it as a virtuous thing. And being that we are in a world where it's praised to be mean or it's praised to be shady, it's praised to be gossipy, it's not praised enough to be kind. It's not praised enough to be generous or to be compassionate or to be understanding. So when you come across people who are kind, generous, etc., really take that into account and allow yourself to grow into that. Like, it's okay. You can be kind. You don't have to always be aggressive just because you grew up aggressive. You can be better. So all of this is to say that though you may find yourself more in, like with Shiloh may find herself more in the anxiety attachment style, you are always able and capable to grow. You're always able to get better, to learn, to experience and stretch your thinking and to just grow in your mindset. Never think that, oh, it's too late, I'm too old, I can't do it, you know, I am who I am. When no, like, as I shared with you guys in the last episode, I took swim lessons for 4 weeks, which was, you know, the whole time allotted. And I learned how to swim. I learned how to float. I learned how to breathe underwater. I learned how to relax in the water. I learned how to glide in the water, all because I wanted to do so. I wanted to learn how to swim, and I didn't allow my big age of being 30, get in the way of that. I didn't allow the unnecessary shame that people like to put on you for not learning things at the expected time to learn. No, like, you have to just focus on you and realize, look, I want to do this. I don't care what age I'm at. I don't care how quote unquote late in the game it is. Time is an illusion. Okay? Let's just end it there. Time is an illusion. So make the time is whatever it needs to be for you. Like, you create the time that you want. Nothing is real. I don't know why I keep saying that, but shit, I'm not lying. Okay, so yeah, you could grow. And this is also speaking for me because sometimes I'll be in that anxious attachment style, just to be honest with y'all. And thank God for self-awareness. But this was just an aha moment for me too. Like, sometimes I may find myself in that anxious attachment style, but I realized, no. I am secure. I can communicate assertively and kindly, and that's it. Like, it doesn't have to be this whole thing in my mind and that I'm upset with, and it doesn't have to be all of that. So shout out to that amazing moment. Now let's just end off and talk about this poetic injustice ass nigga named Lamont. Hello? Let's talk about poetic injustice ass nigga Lamont. I don't know why Lamont reminds me of Boston guys who just like older, old school Boston guys who just grew up kind of, this like black renaissance, but I'm also hood type of guy. He just like, what are we doing? I'm sorry, what's going on? You're breaking out into spoken word while I'm telling you about my truth, like Aaliyah said. That was hilarious. Or is it Aliyah? How you say her name? Alila said. That was hilarious. I'm glad his ass got out. As soon as I saw him in the casting special, I was like, yeah, the answer is no. It's going to be a no for me, dog. And that's all. I'm so looking forward to this season of Ready to Love. Tell me what you think about the show. What's your take? And also, what's your take on other topics that I shared in this episode? Thank you guys for listening, and I will check in with you guys next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This Podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.